Welcome to the 11th narrated PowerPoint video about writing for Bioproducts and Biosystems Engineering class BBE 4023 Process Control and Instrumentation. This PowerPoint presentation provides suggestions and guidelines for your final Great Ideas Incorporated proposal. You are writing a proposal describing the need and market for a new automated control system that you think Great Ideas Incorporated should develop and market next year. Great Ideas Incorporated is a new startup company that wants to market innovative process control systems. The company is egalitarian and they make many decisions by consensus. So you have to sell your ideas to both the management team and your coworkers. The management team includes lawyers, accountants, salespeople, marketing people, and talented craftsmen. This probably is the first time that you're writing something for such a diverse group, and you need to remember that the audience for your proposal includes non-engineers. You also need to work to sell your idea, to spark some enthusiasm among the management team and your coworkers for your idea. Your written proposal is due by 4 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, December 16, 2015. You'll submit it electronically through the Moodle website for the class. The report is expected to be between 10 to 15 pages long, not including figures, tables, and appendices. You have written the proposal in sections, but the final proposal should be combined into one complete proposal. There are a couple of key things to remember to include in the final proposal in appendices. They include the spec sheet for the sensor you recommend be used and the spec sheet for the actuator you recommend be used. You can attach just a few pages of the spec sheet if the original is pretty long. Include information about the range, accuracy, and time constant for the device and any other performance criteria you use to select the sensor and actuator. Guidelines for evaluating the proposals are listed on the website in grading rubrics. These are used to guide my review. You may want to review the grading rubric to make sure that you have included everything required. This is similar to the guidelines I need to follow when writing research proposals. It is important for me to follow the guidelines even if I think they are nonsense or illogical. In the past, I've had to remind students that I want them to describe the sensor and actuator performance criteria before they select them. Then you should use the criteria to compare and contrast the different devices you are considering. The criteria can be used to explain why you selected the devices you are recommending. This section of the proposal may get more technical than others, but remember not to get too technical so that non-engineers can understand why you are selecting the devices. Finally, you are encouraged to edit your writing. Consider exchanging reports with a colleague and give feedback to each other. You're encouraged to add section headings. Take a look at proposals from previous years. A simple sketch that a non-engineer can look at to understand your process is a good idea. A closed-loop block diagram is not recommended. If you have figures or tables in your proposal, you should mention them in your text. That will help readers understand where the figures or tables fit into the proposal. If you like, you might like to develop an interesting or catchy title for your proposed control system. It can make it easier to write about the system if you have a short title rather than a long title. Be sure to follow instructions on how to cite and list references. Guidelines are available on the website. Finally, use spell check for catching misspelled words, but also edit your work multiple times with different focuses. As you finalize your proposal, here are some suggestions for the final proposal. Include a cover page. Some of you have been doing so already, but if you haven't, you're encouraged to include one for the final proposal. Some people include a table of contents. A table of contents is not required. After the cover and table of contents, if included, comes the executive summary. This is a one-page summary. There is another video that gives you recommendations for writing the executive summary. The executive summary is a very important section because many members of the management team only read the executive summary. They won't read the whole proposal. The executive summary is usually the last thing written and is often the hardest thing to write because you are limited to one page and you need to prioritize what you include. After the executive summary, you present your proposal. Your introduction can describe the concept and need for your proposed system, then describe the market and the process. Your process description should have a section that gives a general description that a lay person would be expected to understand. You probably will include a more technical section also that has more details about your process. Also, be sure to include your description of potential reactions from 3 different points of view. After the general description of the process and the requirements for the sensor and actuator, describe the reasons for selecting the sensor and actuator you recommend be used. Also describe the process control logic. These sections can be a bit more technical. You do not need to give any equations for the process control. If you have an equation and want to include it, put the equation and its description in the appendix. Be sure to include spec sheets for both the sensor selected and the actuator selected in the appendix. The last portion of your proposal is to discuss other critical topics. Which topics you select are up to you and depend on your process. Try to address important issues that potential customers may be concerned about as they consider purchasing your control system. Finally, list your references. Make sure that you follow the guidelines for formatting references and what needs to be included. And at the end, attach your appendices. Be sure to include spec sheets for the sensor you select and the actuator you select. Here is a copy of the grading elements. The complete grading rubric is posted on the website. Please take a moment to write down any questions you might have about the final proposal and bring them up in class.